Welcome back to my channel where we discuss most things personal finance and all things credit. I am your host, Jay Woodfin, the creator of 750approved.com, the credit repair industry's first AI-driven credit repair software that puts the power of professional credit repair in your hands. So if you're tired of paying several $100s a month to credit repair professionals who you don't even know if they're actually challenging the negative items on your credit report properly, go ahead and click the link in our description. We'll go ahead and get you started. This video that I'm going to do a reaction to today was actually sent to me via Instagram. The question that was attached to the video was actually pretty simple. Hey Jay, is this true about the banking industry? And if so, can you please explain it a little bit better? And that's exactly what I'm going to try to do. Now, during the video, at parts where I believe needs explanation, I'm going to pause the video, try to break it down a little bit better, in hopes of giving you a little bit better explanation of what's going on. Let's get to it.
All the banks are broke. They're broke because we have a system called fractional reserve banking, which means that banks can lend money that they don't actually have.
All right, so first things first, let's discuss fractional reserve banking. Now, this is a system where banks only hold a fraction of the deposits that the customers actually make, which means that if you deposit $100, the banks actually only keep $5 of it in the bank. Now, the rest of that money is used to invest in things like real estate and life insurance. It's also used to loan back out to other consumers who are looking to procure additional funds for things like businesses, auto loans, and home loans. Now, what this does is it actually puts new money back into the economy where there wasn't any before. This can easily lead to inflation, which it often does. It also creates a super high risk for something called a run on the bank, which means that if the economy gets into really bad shape and everybody goes to try to withdraw their money out of the banks at the same time, all of our money won't be there because I'll be borrowing some of your money. Somebody else will have used your money to get a home loan. Somebody else will have used some of your money to get an auto loan. The banks will have also used some of that money to procure investments in which they're not liquid now to give it back to you. If you really think about this, this is like a huge Ponzi scheme, which is what this gentleman is actually talking about right here. Now, if we ever did truly have a run on the banking system, this would cause a gang of bank failures, in which case banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, Citibank, and others alike would not be able to give almost anybody back the money that they had previously deposited. This doesn't even broach the subject of the interest that's actually charged on the loans that the banks don't even own the money for, which typically speaking provides financial inequality for those who already are at a high risk of having high interest rates in the first place. This inherently is an unfair system which benefits the wealthy elite and penalizes the poor and destitute. Simple as that. Let's continue.
It's a criminal scandal and it's been going on for too long. We have counterfeiting, sometimes called quantitative easing, the artificial printing of money.
So quantitative easing is simply the method that the government uses to produce additional money, printing money. And when they put that printed new money into the economy, now we have a lot more money than we had before to purchase the same amount of goods that we already had. This produces what is known as consumer confidence, when people think that they have more money than they actually have when it's worth a lot less than it was the day before they had it. This largely encourages more borrowing and more investing, which can lead to a whole lot of debt later on in the future. Let's keep it going.
Which if any ordinary person did, they'd go to prison for a very long time. And yet governments and central banks do it all the time. Central banks repress the amount of interest that rates are, so we don't have the real cost of money. It's central banks that manipulate interest rates, Commissioner. And plus, underneath all this, we talk loosely about deposit guarantees. So when banks...
So let's talk about the whole thing he said about the central banks that manipulate interest. The reason why they manipulate interest is to make money cheaper. When they make money cheaper, a whole lot more of us go out and attempt to borrow money to procure things like homes, business loans, auto loans, personal loans, things like that. When we do that, they then start to raise the interest rates back up, and then the habit of borrowing is already there. So if the interest rates go from 1% to 5%, most of us are not paying attention to that as the interest rates rise. And then we go out and we borrow money at 5% when we're thinking we're still in a 1% economy. We're not. You've now borrowed a whole bunch of money to purchase things that are now way too expensive. Now you're in debt. Let's keep it rocking.
Go broke through their own incompetence and chicanery, the taxpayer picks up the tab. It's theft from the taxpayer. And until we start sending bankers, and I include central bankers and politicians, to prison for this outrage, it will continue.
Now, this is where this falls off the tracks, because the people who fund the prison industries and the prison institutions are the politicians and bankers that create this corrupt system. So I'm on board with this dude. I like the video. It's telling the absolute truth. However, it's announcing a problem to which there is no solution, because you can't take away the lending of money without breaking down the entire economic institution as a whole. People need to borrow money to purchase homes. They need to borrow money to purchase autos. They need to borrow money to open up businesses. Without the borrowing of money, you can only spend the amount of money that you make. make, in which case we already know that the actual earning wage as opposed to the living expenses in this country are completely out of whack. You will have so many more people homeless and on the streets that it will become a lawless society. It'll never happen. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you want more content like this, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel. I'll be glad to go ahead and produce more content like this. Look, I know you guys can go anywhere for the lies, but you come to me for the truth. I appreciate you. Peace.